Every time you hit the pickleball, you should be trying to use spin. The problem is that spin can be pretty tricky to learn, especially if you don't have a background in racket sports. If you want to be advanced though, you need to make sure you at least know how to use topspin and slice. Bonus points if you can throw in the occasional side spin ball too. So in this video, I'm going to teach you step by step how to use all these spins regardless of your experience. Like I said, if you want to break the 4.0 level, you really need to be able to use spin, so pay close attention. Helping me today I have Drew and my sisters Kennedy and Kimmy. So, looking at our different spins, arguably the most important spin to know in pickleball is topspin. So, topspin is where I brush up behind the back of the ball, which makes it spin as if it's rolling away from me, okay? So topspin looks like this. This is a topspin dink. So I'm brushing up behind the back of the ball to get that spin that makes the ball look like it's rolling away from me. And what that does is two main things. So when you spin the ball like this, it actually makes the ball drop faster, and that's just because of physics. So when I use topspin, I can actually hit harder and it sucks the ball down and it keeps the ball in the court. The next benefit of using topspin is that when the ball bounces, it actually accelerates a little bit at your opponent, which can make things trickier for them. So watch, when I use topspin, you can see the ball sort of jets off on the bounce, which makes every shot a little bit more difficult to return because it's harder to time where to make contact with it with your paddle. The next spin that you definitely need to know if you play pickleball is slice or underspin. So that looks like this. This is a slice dink where I'm cutting under the ball. So all you're doing to get slice is the opposite of topspin. You're coming under the ball with your paddle, and that makes the ball spin towards you. So when you use slice, it actually makes the ball stay in the air a little bit longer. So it does the opposite of topspin. Because slice keeps the ball in the air longer, and it's honestly just a little bit easier for most people to pick up, it's a great way to absorb your opponent's power and just keep balls in the point and stay consistent. So topspin and slice are definitely the most common, but you might also need to use side spin at some point, which I'm going to go through. And when I say hitting flat, I'm referring to putting no spin on the ball. So a lot of the time you might actually not be using any spin. That's called hitting the ball flat. So now guys, I'm going to show you the basic technique to get topspin. So to get topspin, you need to do what's called the brush. So regardless of the shot, the brush is an upward motion where as you're bringing your paddle forward to hit the ball, you're also going from low to high with your face flat like this, and that rolls up on the ball and gets the spin. But to get topspin, all you need to be doing is getting that brushing motion. Big mistake I see players make is that when they're going for that topspin, they accidentally open up their paddle face and it makes the ball go up. So all you need to know is that when you're trying to get topspin, you should try to keep your face as perpendicular to the ground as you can, or else the ball is just going to go up when you're doing that brushing motion. So you keep the face flat like this, and then when I use that spin, my ball still goes forward. See, I get topspin without making the ball go up. To get slice, the motion is a little bit more subtle than topspin. So you might be thinking, if topspin's like this, then slice is like this. We actually don't want to have this motion. This is called chopping. So when we're getting slice in pickleball, all we're going to be doing is cupping under the ball a little bit. So you just want to be hitting the shot and cupping under it a little bit like this during your motion, okay? You might go a little bit down, but you don't want to be chopping at it. So come at the ball from the level of the ball, and just go a little bit under it. Let me show you a few examples of how that looks on a dink. So as you can see, I'm getting a little bit of spin, but you don't need to get too much to get the benefit of using slice. For side spin, all you need to do is cut to the side. So very simple motion where you're just cutting to the side as you hit the ball forward. And to hit flat, obviously, you just want to be going through the shot without doing too much motion in either direction. So a flat shot looks like that. And don't worry if these spins seem tricky. I'm going to go through a ton of cool drills on how to practice them later. Well, depending on the shot, there's a different spin that you should probably be using, and now I'm going to take you through all of them. When you're hitting drives, you want to be using topspin. When you're hitting drops, you can use topspin or slice. On dinks, you can also use topspin and slice. And same with volleys. You can use both topspin and slice when you're hitting the ball out of the air. On serves, you want to use topspin, but occasionally you can also throw in side spin. On returns, usually you use slice like this. Occasionally though, you can use side spin, which I'm going to show you how to use later. Now I'm going to take you individually shot by shot through how to use all of these. But first, make sure to subscribe to our channel so you see all of our weekly videos. Every video we post is designed to help you improve, so if you want a free lesson every week, make sure to hit the subscribe button. So first, we're gonna go through how to use spin on our drives. And like I said, the only spin we really wanna be going for on our drives is topspin. So a topspin drive looks like this. A few examples. See how she's coming up behind the back of that ball, brushing up and getting that spin. So the simplest technique to hit a drive would be to just take your paddle back and swing straight through the ball with a level swing like this. But if you've watched advanced players play, you're probably aware that when they're doing this motion, they're also coming from a little bit below the ball and finishing a little bit above the ball. So the drive is our biggest swing in pickleball. So we're gonna start from back here, but you wanna drop your paddle down a little bit so that as you're accelerating forward, you can come up behind it. If you don't start below the ball, it's pretty much impossible to get topspin. So if you see Kennedy's motion, she's gonna go through it slowly. She starts up with her loop like this. So Kennedy does a loop where she drops the paddle down in a C motion to get momentum. But when she's finishing her loop, she finishes below the height of the ball. So the ball is probably around right here at this point. And as she's accelerating towards it, she's bringing the paddle up, which gives her that topspin behind the ball. So let's see how that looks again. When we're thinking about topspin on our backhand drive, it's a little bit harder. I think the forehand drive, getting topspin is a lot more natural. But if you have a one-hander, all you need to do, same idea, you're gonna start your swing off a little bit below the ball and finish above the ball. So getting topspin on a one-hander looks like that. So I'm brushing up behind the ball. If you have a two-hander, same thing. You need to be going up behind the ball. So topspin on the two-hander looks like this. And why topspin's so effective on our drives is that when you're hitting the ball from the back of the court and your opponents are up at the net like this, topspin actually makes the ball dip down at them, so they have worse angle to hit the shot. So if Kennedy's hitting good topspin, she can actually make me hit the ball at the height of the net or below the height of the net while hitting a drive. Also, when she's hitting topspin, she can hit it a little bit harder and it will keep the ball from going out. Because remember, the spin sucks the ball down. Now guys, I want to talk about getting spin on our volleys. So on our volleys, it can be beneficial to use both topspin like I'm doing now, but you can also use slice like I'm doing here. What's important to know is that your standard pickleball volley should have a little bit of topspin. So normally when you're hitting a volley in pickleball, you're going for a topspin motion. Because we have less time to prepare for the shot, we're not going to be taking nearly as big of a motion, and we're generally just going to be coming a little bit up behind the ball. And sometimes if we have more time, we'll be a little bit wristier with it. So one of the main types of volleys that we use topspin on is called the roll, which looks like this. So we use the roll when your opponent hits a slow ball to you when you're at the kitchen. So if Kimmy goes for a drop like this, my best option there is to use a topspin roll because the topspin makes her next shot a little bit trickier and it helps me bend my shot over the net. So looking at her technique on the roll, it's very wristy. So I'm not going to be using much of an upward motion with my arm. What I do is I get below the paddle with my wrist like this, and then I snap upward behind it to get that topspin. So my topspin is coming from here, kind of like you're hitting a backhand in ping pong. On the forehand, it's the exact same. I'm going to be getting below the ball with my wrist and finishing above like this. So a few more examples. Getting below that ball and snapping above it. As you can see, when that ball bounces, really jets off, it's making it kind of tricky for Kimmy to do a good job. And if you like the roll volley, make sure to like this video and comment what types of shots you're having trouble using spin on. Another player might be able to help you out. The roll volley though isn't the only volley that we use topspin on. On our general volleys, we actually like to use a little bit of topspin too. So the standard spin for a volley is topspin. So if I'm in a firefight like I am here, I actually still want to be getting a little bit of topspin, but the difference between that type of volley and a roll volley is I don't want to be quite as wristy because I don't have nearly as much time to get below the ball and go above the ball. That just makes it really hard to time a shot that's coming at me fast. So when I'm hitting a volley like this, I just want to be going a little bit up behind the ball, but I don't want to be nearly as wristy as I am on my roll volley. So all you're going to be doing is just getting that little bit of upward motion like this, so you get a little bit of spin. Nothing too crazy though. A few more examples. So these are our sorts of general volleys that we can use throughout the point in pickleball. I'm getting a little bit of spin behind the ball. But when do we use slice in our volleys? So when you're trying to absorb your opponent's power, so if they're hitting the ball really hard, it makes more sense to use slice or to hit flat volleys than to use topspin. When you're using slice, it just makes it a lot easier to maintain your control when the ball is coming at you really quickly. So one of the best situations to do this is when your opponent's hitting drives at you from the back of the court. So when she's hitting drives at me from the back of the court, it's already a little bit tricky to time the ball, so it's not in my best interest to be going for a ton of topspin. So in this situation, you can either go for a flat volley or a slice volley with a firm wrist. That makes it a lot easier to counter her power and keep that ball nice and low. It also makes sense to use slice on reset volleys where I'm absorbing her power and trying to drop the ball into the kitchen. So if Kennedy speeds the ball up at me and I want to drop the ball back into the kitchen because I don't want to attack, it's just a lot easier to have that soft touch with the slice. If I'm going for topspin, it's just really hard to get the ball to land in the kitchen off that shot. It's more natural if I'm using the continental grip to go for slice in that situation, absorb her power, and get the ball in the kitchen. If you guys want to go deeper into volleys, I have a full video on that. Now though, I'm going to show you how to use spin on your dinks. So when it comes to dinking, you can use both topspin like I am here, brushing up behind that ball, or slice where I'm cutting under it. And I'd say high-level players do about 50-50 topspin versus slice. So it's actually a more versatile shot in terms of what spins you're using. And the way you should think about it is that we use topspin as our more aggressive dink. So topspin's a little bit harder to use when you're dinking, but it makes it a little bit tougher for your opponents because the bounce is a little bit trickier and it just makes it a little bit more challenging for them to time their dink. When we're slicing our dinks, these are our more defensive dinks. So this is what we use when our opponent maybe just hit a harder dink, or we're just trying to stay safe and keep the ball in the kitchen so they can't attack. In terms of the technique of topspin, what you don't want to do on the shot is use any wrist. So when we're getting topspin on our dinks, it's all going to be just moving upwards with your shoulder. So I don't want this windshield wiper motion like I did on my roll volley, because when we're hitting the ball soft, using wrist makes it a lot more challenging to keep our control. So a topspin dink looks like this. I'm just rolling up the back of the ball, but I'm keeping my wrist pretty steady. So I don't want to be using a ton of wrist. It's a very simple motion. I'm just coming up behind the ball and focusing on this, and I'm trying to keep my paddle from having too much movement. Our slice dinks look like this. So I'd say a lot of people would see slice as the standard sort of dink. It's definitely the easier of the two spins to use on a dink. And all I'm doing is just coming under the ball very slightly. So I'm not going for a ton of spin when I'm using slice, just a little bit. If you're using a continental grip and you're trying to hit a dink, you naturally are probably going to get a little bit of slice. So as you can see, all I'm doing when I'm hitting that shot is I'm just coming under that ball a little bit like this, and that makes the ball roll this way. So a few more examples. So definitely, if you don't know how to dink very well, then you should definitely start off using slice dinks before you go into topspin. So I definitely try to master this spin first. When it comes to serving, topspin is definitely the #1 spin you want to think about. So a topspin serve looks like this. And the technique there is pretty much exactly the same as our forehand drive. Obviously though, you just need to keep in mind the rules where I need to hit the ball below the height of my belly button, and obviously I need to be behind the line and all that. So just like on your drives, to get topspin on your serve, you just have to start that swing from below the ball a little bit and finish it from above the ball. And a lot of people use the loop on the serve just like their drive. So here's another example of a topspin serve. And as you can see there, I got my shot about 2 or 3 feet over the net. And what that does in combination with the topspin is it gives me a rainbow trajectory where the topspin makes the ball drop down, and I can hit the ball really hard, but keep the ball in with the topspin. And that rainbow trajectory makes the bounce a little bit more erratic for your opponents. By going a little higher, you also make it easier to get the ball deeper, which also just makes things harder for your opponent. The other spin that you can use in your serve is side spin, which looks like this. A lot of people call this serve the screwball. So as you can see, when I hit this serve, it actually makes the ball curve a little bit this direction, which can be really tricky for your opponents. So all you have to do to get this spin on your serve is cut to the side as you're hitting the shot. So you're actually going to make contact with it a little bit more in front. You should have a continental grip, and you should be contacting it more in front of your body versus the side like you do on a topspin. So I'm going to cut to the side like this, not going for topspin. All my spin is going to be coming from here. If you don't know how to use this serve, it can be a little bit tricky to get the hang of, but with some practice, it's not that tough. I've gotten some comments on my videos of people saying that this serve is illegal, but it's not. It's fully legal. You see pros using it all the time. That said, I see this serve as more of a change-up. You should be using your topspin serve a majority of the time and occasionally throwing in the screwball as a way to trick your opponents. When it comes to returns, the main spin that players use is slice like this. So as you can see, I have a compact motion, and I do what most people refer to as the chip as I'm running forward into the kitchen. And there's a few different reasons why players do this. The first is that when you use slice, it makes it a little bit easier to absorb the power of your opponent's serve. The second is that because you want to be moving forward on your return, that slice motion is very natural to just run through the ball with. And the third is that when you use slice, it keeps the ball in the air longer, which gives you more time to get to the kitchen before your opponents are hitting their third shot. So in terms of our technique on this, you just want to be coming a little bit under the ball with a very compact motion. A lot of your power is going to actually be coming from your opponent's serve and the fact that you're moving forward through the ball. So all you have to do is just open up your face a little bit and get under the ball as you're moving forward. And that should be enough to get slice. Like I said, if you want to get fancy with your return, you could also occasionally throw in a side spin return like that, which we call the screwball return. Basically the same exact motion as our screwball serve, but we're doing it on the return. One thing I'll say though is don't do this return if they're hitting the serves really hard. It can be a little bit tricky to time. So only go for it if you're getting a little bit slower serves and you're a little bit more comfortable with the balls that you're being hit. If you throw this in every once in a while though, it can make your opponent's third shot really tricky. Like I said though guys, if you don't have a racket sports background or you just don't know how to use spin properly, it can be a little bit tricky to get the hang of, so you need to make sure you have the right way of practicing it. So this drill I'm about to show you is called the Windscreen Drill. It's one of the best ways to learn how to use topspin and slice. So it looks like this. So all you're gonna be doing is hitting the ball against a fence like this. And as you can see here, I'm using topspin. And what happens when you can effectively use topspin when you're doing this drill is that the ball will jet up off of the windscreen. So if I'm hitting the ball flat, the ball doesn't really come up. When I start to use topspin, see how you can see that ball moving up off the screen, right? Because the ball is spinning, so it makes the ball go up. So as you're learning the technique and the feel of getting topspin, this is one of the best ways to get it down. If you're first starting off, you might not be getting any spin. You don't have that feel yet. But by just doing it over and over again, eventually you'll start to see that the ball is spinning, right? You can actually see that the ball is spinning in the air, but then you'll also get that feedback off the fence where it's going up. If you're trying to figure out slice, it's the exact opposite. So when I'm using slice, you can see the ball really cuts down off the screen and goes down like that. So you can really tell, okay, I'm getting good slice if that ball is going down off the screen. So yeah, if you don't know how to use spin, topspin, or slice, this is one of the best ways to get the hang of it. And you can just do it if you're waiting around for a game. Most facilities have a fence like this if it's outdoors, so I highly recommend trying this out. And if you guys want to be able to do that drill at home, that's why we made the Dink Master. So as you can see, when I do this topspin, you can really see that ball going up off of the Dink Master. One of the best ways to learn and develop this spin. When I start using slice, the ball cuts down a little bit more. You get that feedback. So learning spin, guys, is really just repetition. So getting the Dink Master or doing that drill on the fence that I showed you there is one of the best ways to get it down. It seems really simple, but it gets the job done. If you guys want to check out the Dink Master, we have it linked below in the description, or you can just head to enhancedpickleball.com. And guys, once you get the hang of using topspin against a wall, you can actually head to the courts and start trying to do it on the court by using your serve. So if you can't get topspin on your serve, it's going to be tricky to get topspin on your other shots like your drive. So the serve specifically is a great shot to practice getting your topspin, and you can do it on your own. So it's very unlikely that you'll be able to watch this video and go straight out to your games and start using spin if you didn't know how to use it before. So I highly recommend just getting a partner, going out, going through some rallies, trying to get the hang of it. Here I'm just doing topspin, topspin backhand, topspin forehand. All you need to do there is just go through some rallies like this. You're exaggerating that spin and trying to get the hang of it. It's really all repetition. And guys, the one shot I didn't cover spin on was drops. So if you want to go deep into that, I have a full video on that here.